The Beach Boys, Summer Days and Summer Nights, right now on States and Kingdoms. So we've got issues with how some people that we've come across classify this album.
No issues at all. Perfectly fine.
All right, never mind.
This album, in between Beach Boys Today and Pet Sounds, or more technically, Beach Boys Today and Beach Boys Party.
Yeah.
But no one really, we'll talk about that. It definitely gets a little bit short shrift, I think. Certainly it's not on par with those two albums. I don't think there's any argument about that. But there's a lot of great music on this. And it does continue Brian's production abilities, his genius in the studio, and even with simpler songs, the way he can embellish them, the way he's arranging them is extraordinary.
Right, because some people have said that this is a little bit of a step back.
Yeah. That's common. That's really common.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, I never thought so.
I don't think it's a step back. It's not maybe it's not necessarily a step forward. Maybe it's a step in place.
Maybe it's a time step.
Yeah, no, maybe it's a Running Man. He's doing a Running Man. But...
Which Brian did.
The one thing about this, like we were saying, again, before, is that songs like, Girl from New York City, or Salt Lake City, or Amusement Parks USA, that may seem, or as I saw in AllMusic, subpar, or... Well, there's even something more dismissive that came after that about their empty-headed whatever,
par,
which I really dislike. But songs like that are just as much a part of Brian as Surf's Up or Till I Die. Or I really, I think, all of that is a part of the Beach Boys. It's great rock and roll.
Well, that's why
great, incredibly produced rock and roll.
Yeah. But that's why it's so confusing to me when you see reviews like that. When they're referencing, a simpler, like type of music or simpler themes versus the other stuff that Brian and the group would go on to do. What that entire premise is false from the start, because Brian was doing the same thing in the beginning, same thing in the middle, the same thing at the end. He always was touching on the same topics. All throughout.
I would just say it's not an either or. Not everything's going to be a grandiose ballad about growing up or growing old or this. All of this is valid. It's not an either or. Is what I'm saying. That's all.
Yeah.
So there's no reason that Pet Sounds or anything after should invalidate these songs.
Hell no.
They're still incredible songs. They're
Also,
still incredible rock and roll songs.
It's not fair to talk about an album that came before another album and use the other album as a reference for the earlier album.
Well, actually, in this case, Beach Boys Today would be the one that would...
Okay, true.
I still think that it shouldn't be so readily dismissed. That's all. The songs on it. Now, of course, there are songs on here that you can't dismiss one way or another. So let's get into that. Girl from New York City. This is a great rock and roll song. I know it's like an answering song to the ad-lib song, Boy from New York City. They don't sound similar. But, I just want, because we already talked about it. It's a great song.
I am a robot talking about the girl from New York City.
It's a great song.
I always thought of it as, bookends. The girl from New York City and California Girls. I thought they kind of balanced each other out.
Yeah.
Not musically, you know what I'm saying.
Well, then, yeah.
But I thought, they were kind of here's the East Coast girls, and here's the West Coast girls. I don't know. I thought it worked together like that.
No, it's fine. So you found a theme.
There it is.
Amusement Parks USA, I actually really like. I like songs like this. I really do, and I don't think one. The production on this is great. It's a simpler song, but it still has a great production. It's a great tribute to amusement parks, which is such an American staple. And yeah. I love amusement parks.
Yeah.
The carnival circus amusement park
fits
thing.
The Americana kind of thing that the Beach Boys obviously have.
Yeah. These first two songs and Salt Lake City also have something that I really love, which is Mike and Brian singing in tandem.
Yes.
And, it's such a cool dynamic that they had, and they continue to do that for a while, but they didn't really do it as much later, and I kind of miss that on
Their
some of the later records.
voices just play together so well.
They do, they really do. They complement each other, and this keeps it, the song, it gives it an interesting rhythm. The two of them, taking each line. And He Kissed Her is a really good rendition of, the song, of the Phil Spector song, and
yeah, it's great.
It's not appreciably different at all, but I really like Al singing on it. Al has, of course, 2 great vocal performances on this record. He sings it great. He sings it really great.
He has a great voice.
He does.
He really does.
Al has a great voice.
They gave him, the lead parts on a couple of really key songs, and he just hit them right out of the park.
He can belt it out good, and
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, how their voices all complement each other. How they could handle, like, any kind of song, really, just between them.
I always loved Girl, Don't Tell Me.
You would.
I know. It's just the teeniest bit Beatlesque.
It's just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a touch. But I think Carl does such a great job with the vocal.
And it's his first.
Yeah. And, there's something, I don't know, I love Carl's voice so much, and I love how he sings this song. It's a great melody, great lines for him to sing.
I would say it's the most Beatley Beach Boys song. I don't think there's anything that's so striking.
Yeah.
But it is a really great song. It is. It kind of goes places you can't anticipate where. I mean, of course, once you listen to it a billion times, you can, but you can't anticipate.
It's hard to go back
where it's going. It doesn't. It's got that Brian Wilson magic about it. It's got
a really meandering type of melody, and you're right. It is surprising, and it's not straightforward, even though it does
twists
have
and turns.
Help Me Rhonda.
Help Me Rhonda is such a classic. It's got that boogie woogie thing, but different than Brian had really done it. I think, I'd have to think about that. I probably should have thought about that, but I said it anyway. But it's got that real boogie woogie Beach Boys thing. Say that 5 times fast.
I'm not gonna try once.
And Al again, and of course this is a better version than the one that's on Beach Boys Today, which just you keep having to get close to the speaker. You're like, wait, what?
Oh. Side 2, California Girls.
Right.
What can you say? It is a genius, beautiful piece of music. I mean, I can listen.
About the beginning is like in West Side Story when they're walking down the street and they do that I'm not doing it, you do it. Yeah, it's like that. It's like the beginning is like clearing the path for the rest of the song, and for like everything else that comes after it.
I would be happy if I had to make a deal with someone, and I could only listen to the very beginning of California Girls forever. I'd be okay. Who was I making that deal with? I don't want to say.
Peter Cook.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is, and
Andrews.
It's stunning. It always will be.
Yeah,
and
the rest of the song, of course, is amazing too.
It is. It is awesome. Again, that kind of boogie woogie feel and everything that he, is such a staple for Brian. Yeah, just a masterpiece.
So Let 'Em Run Wild.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Which was the B-side for California Girls.
What a single. I always thought that. Like,
it is.
Holy crap.
I think that's like the most incredible single.
Can you imagine hearing that in 65 and being like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And Let 'Em Run Wild is just such a great song.
And of course, always thought, as everyone, it just sounds like an outtake from a Pet Sounds
baby
song.
Pet Sounds.
And that single came out in July of 65.
Right, which is nuts.
Which is before Help.
Yeah.
Was released.
I mean, Let 'Em Run Wild is such a incredible, complex, beautiful piece of music.
Mm-hmm. It also sort of sounds a little bit, and I don't know, maybe someone would, a little bit Bacharach-y. You know, we haven't talked about Burt Bacharach, but he's certainly one of the just most incredible, brilliant songwriters of all time, that time. And, you know, his influence on Brian, well, must have been there.
Well, we know Brian was a giant Bacharach fan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. It's
not talked about as much. There. It's not talked about as much.
I'll talk about it.
What am I saying?
You're So Good to Me.
Well, I always loved this song.
Me too. I used to think that it wasn't even Brian singing the lead.
Well, Brian can sound like everyone in the band.
I know, which makes it so hard. Yeah. I always gave it to Al in my head. I could have just looked. I could have looked.
What's so cool about this, you know, the guitar run through the Leslie speaker, because in the latter portion of the 60s, everything got run through a Leslie speaker. Everything. A Leslie speaker was run through a Leslie speaker. You know, I mean, it just became so commonplace to do that, and
ubiquitous.
It's such a great sound on this, you know. Just a really exciting song, and the drum, it's got like a nice kind of primitive sound to it. It's very
Brian
very basic.
Really belts it out.
It's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Summer Means New Love. It's very pretty.
Yeah. Well, the instrumentals, Brian's instrumentals are wonderful.
Yeah, and definitely this points to Pet Sounds as well, I think.
In the 60s, I mean, it's such incredible instrumentals.
Yeah, the people were mad for them, and now we don't have instrumentals anymore.
Well, people used to dance, too.
That's true.
I'm Bugged Up My Old Man.
Pure fun.
Well, you know, there's certainly pathos in there, and that's typical for the Beach Boys, if you know about them. But it is just funny and whimsical, and that is a huge part of the Beach Boys. So I always thought this was just funny and I
feel like
great.
Some people take it a little too far and make it like Brian's like plea for help.
Oh.
Because he's being like so.
Well, isn't every song Brian's plea for help?
Yes, they are.
So I don't know. But I just, you know, I always thought it was funny. I just thought it was funny.
No, me too.
And I like Spike Jones. I like novelty songs. I like all of those things that were such a staple in American music and mid-century, and still in bands like Ween or Primus. You know, sense of humor. It doesn't bother me none.
And Your Dreams Come True.
Only a minute. And Your Dreams Come True is only a minute long, and it's such a wonderful example of their vocal virtuosity.
Prowess.
You know, yeah, it's for freshman-y, but that's okay. I'm not saying that as anything, and certainly not criticism. It's wonderful.
It's just amazing that they can blend their voices like that and do such amazing things with their harmonies. It just always their harmonizing is second to none. Right,
so,
top notch. So of course they can do beautiful a cappella.
So yeah, this album,
I think. The sequence of songs is great. It really flows.
And I think the production is just as good. I think in my opinion, it is not any less in that respect.
No, it sounds awesome.
You know, so it continues today, Summer Days, Summer Nights, to Pet Sounds, you know, just production-wise. And it's just a great rock and roll Beach Boys album, and there's really nothing better than that.
Yep. Word. And I really like this album with all the little things that each one of them wrote on the back here, and I didn't even realize until very recently that Al is not on the cover. he actually missed the boat. Poor Al.
Mike kicked him overboard.
Yeah. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed our discussion of Beach Boys Summer Days and Summer Nights. Please let us know what you think in the comments below, and like and subscribe. Make sure to stay tuned for more videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here at Stason Kingdom, so have a great weekend.